From the air, the city of Moncton, New Brunswick, looks much like any important railway junction. Overland gateway to Canada's east coast seaports, and second largest city in the province, Moncton was host to thousands of airmen from all parts of the British Empire during World War II. In common with most Canadian cities, Moncton's return to peacetime activity has been complicated by an acute shortage of family accommodation for her own returning veterans. Hard-pressed and anxious to find a solution to the problem, City Council expropriated land for new buildings a quarter-mile north of the RCAF's famous No. 1 Y depot. Plans for 30 new dwelling units were announced, but this program was soon increased to 100 houses and finally to a major 200-unit project under Wartime Housing Limited. The contractor was J.F. Parsons, who had novel ideas for building houses in a hurry. Mansfield Ross, his superintendent, H.G.N. Gill of Wartime Housing Limited, and R.L. Parsons, company engineer, cooperated to speed his plan into action. The result was a building record. 100 houses, with all water and sewer connections, were erected in 66 working days. Only interior finishing remained to be completed. Like the Americans who devised the California method of assembly line building, Parsons takes the factory to the housing site. A temporary building sheltering 3 assembly line tracks, it is called the jig shop. Small sawmills are added to feed it with pre-cut lumber. From the jig shop, he lays down a set of portable transfer tracks, extending to the edge of the site, and also a return spur track. Another length of portable track is laid at right angles to the transfer track. A dolly works back and forth along the transfer track, picking up each little flat car as it rolls from the jig shop with a completed wall, gable, or roof section, and transports it to the service track. The jig car then rolls off the dolly and down the service track to the foundation site. Power for the dolly and jig cars is supplied by a hoist drum and cable arrangement. As the little cars make their trips and return to the jig shop to repeat their production cycles, houses appear before your very eyes. On completion of each double row of houses, the portable service track is moved over to the next line of foundations. By rearranging the portable tracks, building continues across the entire site. The Parsons plan went into operation with the assistance of various types of modern equipment, but experience proved it was more practical to dig the foundation trenches by hand. Pick and shovel teams moved down the line to set the stage for foundation work. Using concrete blocks for foundations brings important savings in lumber and nails needed to build forms for poured concrete. With no forms to tear down and reassemble, a substantial saving in time also results. Using pre-cut lumber delivered from the on-site sawmills, carpenters take over at this stage, and in short order the sills and subfloorings are securely nailed into place. The portable sawmills housed in temporary shacks are run at top capacity. Here all lumber used in the project is precision cut and then taken away to be stockpiled for ready delivery and use by the various construction teams. Ready-cut lumber, jig assembly, and resulting streamlined construction are also introduced in turning out interior partitions. Porch sections are built in a similar manner. Jigs of this type are stationary. The table-like arrangement reduces construction to a simple assembly and nailing up process and provides comfortable working conditions for the carpenters. Just as soon as a partition or porch section is completed, it is lifted from the jig and set aside for transportation to the house sites. Workmen immediately slip more 2x4 studdings into place in the jig, and another section takes shape. Only 2 simple operations, assembly and nailing, are necessary. Even the steps are mass-produced and piled ready for use. Completed interior partitions are transported to the house sites by tractor and trailer. At this stage, the Parsons plan reverses conventional methods of house construction. interior partitions are erected and nailed to the subfloorings. Thus, the main structure is built from the inside out instead of from the outside in. While all this preliminary construction is getting underway, other crews are busy at the jig shop. A temporary structure, 135 feet long and 40 feet wide, the jig shop is the heart of the entire building operation. Here, the big gains in material and time are accomplished. Storage for materials is provided along both sides of the building, which houses 3 tracks and 12 flat cars. In favorable weather, work is also carried on outdoors, with extra jig cars being brought into use. Would you like a new wall for your house? These workmen will construct one while you wait. Watch closely now. First, the 2x4 studs, the basis of all frame construction, are placed in the empty jig. Assembly is easy once you've been told how. With the right lumber selected from the stockpiles, you simply follow the dotted line. Quickly, the wall takes shape. See how much easier it is to work on a horizontal surface. No stretching, no ladders, just drop the pieces into place. Yes, you'll want windows in your wall. This will be taken care of. See how the opening for the window is framed with studding. Assembly is soon completed. Next comes the nailing up process. There's no trick to it. You simply hold the nail here and hit it with the hammer, like that. Now we are ready for rough boarding in. This lumber has also been pre-cut to exact size. Piece after piece slides into position and is nailed to the studding. Before long, our entire wall is neatly closed in. Walls must be insulated both inside and out. For outside insulating, felt paper is rolled on and nailed. Now we can drop that window into place. It comes complete with sash and window glass and slips easily into the opening we left during studding and rough boarding. Weather stripping along the top is an added protection. The exterior finish may be asbestos shingle or wood siding. These small shingles illustrate the advantage of working on a horizontal surface. And here comes the wall section with complete exterior finishing. Now the jig car is safely on the transfer dolly, and away she goes on the first leg of the trip to the house site. When the transfer dolly reaches the service track, the right angle turn is solved by elevations, and the jig car rolls off the transfer dolly and down the track. At the house site, erecting crews and a power crane with a 40-foot boom go into action. Slowly and carefully, the crane hoists the section away. As the jig car returns to the shop, workmen grasp the guide ropes and assist the crane operator in his ticklish job of easing the wall into place. Carpenters work hand in hand with the erecting crews, nailing each new unit to the subflooring and interior scantling. Section follows section as the jig shop keeps the production line moving. The entire operation is repeated again and again. The gable sections are handled in much the same way as the walls. Raising and lowering at the crane operator's slightest movement on his controls, and guided by the erecting crews, they take up their position. Special cable slings are needed to hoist the roof sections to their lofty places. Finishing touch to this spectacular system of house erection, they require delicate handling. Lifted high by the crane, the roof sections are swung above the house and then lowered and guided into place. In just 2 hours, the entire structure is completely closed in and interior finishing may begin. As soon as the main assembly is completed, carpenters and other interior workmen enter the house. The rear porch sections, which were constructed on the stationary jigs, are now delivered. The porch provides extra storage space and also includes bins for coal and wood. First, the 3 walls slip into place and are secured. Then comes the roof. Complete assembly requires approximately 45 minutes. And now the final exterior work is carried out. Wall corners are boarded up and shingling is completed along the joining lines between walls and gables. The chimney is the crowning touch, with the roof well protected against damage. 190 days after the first sod is turned, 100 houses are ready for occupancy, an average of 1.9 working days per unit. Another veteran has new accommodation for his family. His rent will range from $22 to $30 per month, depending on the size of his house. A product of modern technique and mechanization, the home now begins to assume the characteristics of the Canadian way of living. Communities such as this wartime housing project are expertly planned for indoor and outdoor livability. 4-room bungalows and 5- and 6-room 2-story dwellings, they give ample living comfort and convenience through compact arrangement of space. The men who cooperated to hurry this housing job believe the Parsons plan can be adapted to 90% of the land sites where projects of 100 or more houses are contemplated. Moncton has shown Canadians the way in streamlining building methods to the requirements of present-day housing needs.